can you break down the key points of this mandatory stand-down period for the remainder of the season?
Yeah, sure. Look, the All Black integration and management's nothing new. It's certainly got a lot more face time and media time this year, maybe because it's World Cup. Effectively, a group of 32 elite All Blacks were selected at the end of last year, of which we have 5. So the first thing they didn't play pre-season. Their first game was round 1. And over the first 3 games of the season, they were restricted to 180 minutes over those first 3 games. Then through the rest of the season, we have to give them, they'll have 2 weeks off. And those are 2 clear weeks away. So where they're basically away from the environment, plus the 2 buys that are already in our draw.
So just to clarify that, when you mean away from the environment, that extends further than just not lacing up on the weekend and having a run?
Yeah, I think the whole thing is to get away, freshen up. It's a long season. Look, we're all invested in our All Blacks doing well at the end of the year. Look, player management, I think because you use the word mandatory around the All Blacks and there are high-profile players, they get a lot of the attention. But I think any good club's going to try and manage their squad as well as they can. It's Super Rugby's tough now. Yeah. The requirements on the players now, the physicality of the game, means it's pretty hard for anyone to play, right through the whole season. So we need to manage all our guys best we can.
And one of the key ones in the points is that no player can play more than 5 consecutive games. So as we're starting to approach a real crunch period for the Blues, good couple of wins now, and then there's a couple of big games coming up, the back-to-backs at Mount Eden Park with the Stormers and the Waratahs coming up very shortly. Who, I guess, are some of the players that will probably be coming up for that stand-down period?
Yeah, it's a real hard one because you look at the draw and Super Rugby's no easy games. So you're trying to balance in terms of, who can complement who. Injuries obviously, and sometimes it's not injuries necessarily to the All Blacks, it's injuries to your other players. The 5-game sort of guideline around sort of consecutive games was more around so that we didn't leave it all till the end.
Sure.
And that we were sort of managing our players as well as we could through the season. As you've seen, Patrick, Offa and Sonny have already had 1 game off. So Carl and Rico will be due in the coming weeks. Then we go into a bye. Our draw worked really well around the 5-game block. And then we'll look to give all those guys another game off in our long block after the next bye.
I can imagine running a club like the Blues is complex. For this period, is there like a matrix on a wall that's already predetermined as to how you're going to plan all of this out and all working with the coaching staff? Or is it based on a week-by-week period, depending on how things shape up and player welfare, that you make those decisions?
We've had a few matrix that we've changed because situations change. And obviously, as we've learned, there's things that are bigger than rugby. Obviously, Sonny was due to play last week with everything that happened in Christchurch, and for him, it was the right week for him to have off. So I think we've all got flexibility that we can adjust. We have sort of, I suppose, a best case scenario, but as we know, Super Rugby, you never get that best case. So there's a little bit of flexibility and movement around it, but if you've got a plan, at least you've got something you can work to and something you can adjust for.
And probably just one other question just around that. If a player out of the 5 is injured, can that be treated as one of those stand-down periods or no? Yeah,
look, we've been fortunate. Our MedFit team have done a great job with our guys, so we haven't faced that yet. I think that's something that we would manage if it came up, especially if it was just a 1 week, because it depends when that injury occurs, does it take them out of the environment, all those sorts of things. But I guess the message from me is our intent is to look after our players best we can anyway. It's in our own interest. We want those 5 All Blacks and the rest of our team playing well when it comes to playoffs at the end of the year.
Excellent. Tony, thank you so much for that breakdown.